Welcome to the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Interviews, a series we created to give even more exposure to startups from the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Network. Today I'm here with Grieg Eide of Scanreach. Scanreach brings onboard wireless connectivity to the maritime industry. But definitely Jakob is going to tell us more. Hello, Jakob. Good to see you.
Hello, Leonardo. How are you today?
Hi, very well, thank you. Very well. Locked in home as usual. How about you? How are you doing? You look. It looks you are in an office, right?
Yeah, we're in the office. We're in Norway. We are based in Bergen and west coast of Norway, and COVID or Corona is not hit very hard here. We don't have any more sort of cases for the last 2 weeks. I think we're out. There's nobody in the hospital or anything here.
Okay.
At the moment, so we can go to the office and be normal, but we have to be very cautious, of course.
Yeah.
It's good to be back. I was in home office for 2 months, and I was I was happy to be back here. Yeah.
Yeah. Striving to move forward and do things. So well, it's good. It's passing, and it's good to have you here. It's good to have you here for this interview. So Scanreach, I read a very brief sentence about what Scanreach does, but I think so wireless connectivity on board, and everybody seems to be able to do it. You just put a number of routers all over the ship, and you hope you have good connectivity. But now tell us what Scanreach does and how different it is from the hopeful solutions that never work. So please go ahead. Tell us about Scanreach.
Scanreach is 5 years old, and actually we come from the safety side. We want to know where people are inside the vessel. It's very difficult today. It's more or less impossible. You can use some video or something to know and see in corridors or rooms, but there is no way you can connect to a person.
Yeah.
So we needed to develop both a solution for the person to connect to something, like you said, what are you going to connect to? And then we needed to develop a connectivity technology that could penetrate steel. And then you have the Faraday's cage, and people said it was impossible, but we have dedicated 5 years of our lives into just, the penetrate steel complexity, which is, I remember when I told my wife that I'm going to change my work, and I've seen the light, and I'm going to work, be a startup again and work with Scanreach. And she asked, okay, so what is Scanreach doing then? They're going to penetrate steel with, steel with radio signals. And she said, you have to go to the hospital, mental.
So either back to work or to the hospital.
Yeah.
But it seems that like 5 years on, you were right, and actually it works. But I think that something that I really like is that it is a technology, but it is a technology that was born with a purpose, not like the technology for the sake of it. Actually, it's a technology that solves a problem, an issue that Scanreach founders always, I understand, had, which is let's take care of lives of people on board wherever they are, not only in the living quarters, but my gosh, a ship is huge and it's all made of steel, and you have to be everywhere at some point in time. And it really feels like you are maybe on a mission on a moon when you are in some hidden like tank in the forepeak or whatever, and really it is very difficult to maintain communication in this
and I think and a lot of I think that a lot of people who have tried. We are coming. I'm a naval architect and also a industrial designer, so I've been designing ships and I've been building ship on yards. So the people behind Scanreach is more or less coming from the ocean industries and coming from the safety side. I have even designed a high-speed craft which has crashed and people have died. So I have the safety cautiousness or whatever you say in my body.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think very few people know the complexity and size of vessels. It's like a moving city, or if it's a cruise ship, or it's if you have the big tankers, whatever. You're talking about hundreds of meter long,
Yeah.
10, 20, 30 meter high. You're talking about football stadium,
Yep.
3 of
Inside.
them,
Yep.
and size. And in some of these vessels, only 30 people are working.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do some work, far aft or all the way down to the bottom level, you're probably alone, or
Totally.
you're so hidden. And data signals do not normally find their way through steel. So that's why you are incognito. You're not found. If something happened, if you fall down a ladder, if you hurt yourself, you get heart attack, or if there's a fire going on. That's why there's so many people dying. There's thousands of people are getting injured every year, and people fall overboard. And it's a lot of, being a seafarer is probably one of the dangerous occupations in the world.
Yeah.
So the most important then was to find a solution that could connect to those people working. And we managed to do that and develop a radio technology that moves out, can go from a Faraday's cage to another, like one compartment to another, wireless. So, and that's the beauty of what we have done. So it's plug and play. It's very affordable. It's you can install on a vessel within 2 to 3 hours. You have complete connectivity throughout the vessel. Then you know where all the people will be. But of course, the beauty is that you can use that IoT platform and IoT mesh to start harvesting and collecting and transport other type of data as well. It's not only POB or personal on board data. It could be gases or O2 levels or important things to increase safety, but also performance. It could be smart sensors. We know that maritime industry is going to be flooded wherever you say. It's going to be so many smart sensors installed for vibrations, for maintenance, for fuel, and you can't cable to them, so that you need a wireless infrastructure to transport. And that's so we actually delivering two solutions. One solution for safety, and if you buy safety, or you have to buy safety, you can't say, I just wanted to have the connectivity. You have to go through the safety and take care of your crew. Then you have full connectivity, and then we can start working on the use cases which is most beneficial for you as the specific ship, but also for the whole fleet. And the beauty of that is if you want to share that data to other in the ecosystem in the cloud, we have a cloud solution that you can open APIs and share it with your class society, with your insurance company, whatever. So we are now integrating our cloud and our platform with the most important, say, other platforms or solutions in the maritime world. It could be satellites, like we're working very closely with Inmarsat, or it could be with Navdo's e-charge systems, or it could be the crew management systems, or it could be with Raven's emergency response systems. All those have we integrated with. So it's quite interesting to see how now it would scale, on different levels, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is really, really super interesting, and it connects a lot. I mean, I feel really, really connected to it because I'm almost saying the same things that you said. I'm a naval architect. I design ships. I build ships, and I come from a family of seafarers. My father was a captain, and I've been sailing with him when I was a child, and like moving in vast spaces in a ship that could be also very, very small. Even some are vast, some are small, and they are all over. It really felt like walking on the moon, like you were away from everything. So it is great that you have this solution that from the safety of personnel, you can also expand to other things, to the things that now are coming, are becoming critical for ship management, for maintenance, for many other things that are IoT related. But I really like when you say you have to buy the solution for crew safety, and then at that point you have a platform, you the client, where you can build other stuff, where you can really leverage it also for other stuff that is not just safety related. But for you, safety is either you do it or you're not my client.
Yeah, and I think that's a really, really strong point. And then I think we have a head start global head start now by probably 3 years plus minus, which means that we're going to scale a lot in 3 years.
Yeah,
we hope to be in thousands of vessels in 3 years, and I think until now, safety for a lot of ship owners has been cost only. Safety costs. So and the competitive, it's been more and more competitiveness in the maritime industry. A lot of different segments have not made much money last, say, even a decade, and they would say, no, we can't pay. But doesn't really mean that the ship owner have to pay. It could be an insurance company. Your premium is going to reduce because your risk is going to reduce. So we have a lot of discussion now with the big P&I clubs, with insurance companies, and say, okay, we're talking about very, very low cost. You're talking about probably something like 40, 50 cents or pence or euro, 0.5 euros a day per person.
Yeah.
You're talking about ridiculous low
absolutely
number of cost here. So I think it's not, the beneficial of having a highest level of safety is not only for the ship owner, it's also for the client, the end client, but also for other parties. And we also have an idea that which we're going to test out, and we should be very open with that it's very important for the ship owners to build digital capabilities now in the future. Not only the big OEMs, or they have to take more control of their digital roadmap. And wireless connectivity will probably be a solver, a tool, because it's cheap, it's plug and play.
Yep.
It will connect to the smart sensors of the future, which are now flooding the maritime industry. So I think the ship owner now have a tool never they had before, building capabilities. And I think also when you look at data as a value, data as you can monetize on data. So I think the ship owner owns, in most cases, own the vessel. Yep. So it should also take more control of the value of the data harvested and generated on board. So we think that there is a lot of consumers of those data. If it is from equipment, machinery, environment, from people, that should be beneficial for design companies, from yards, from other, that could generate revenue streams. So I think the mesh itself, the technology itself on board could be actually a platform for income.
Yeah.
For the ship owner. And it's very, we have to look at you really have to look at bring digital power to the ship owners now. And I think not cabling, because cabling becomes silos and becomes very connected to specific equipment. But our node can probably connect to various sources inside the machinery space, or collecting different data on the same node and transport those data into the gateway and up to the cloud. So it's going to be very interesting now. We're going to run a lot of different full-scale tests on use cases and business models. And we are moving into very interesting 2-3 years with understanding value creation use cases and really the business models, which is beneficial mainly for the ship owners or those operating the vessel.
Yeah.
And because I think they are lacking behind in the digital roadmap. A lot of these.
Yeah. So it's a digital roadmap, but it's also like innovation that is not only technological, but it's also business model. actually innovating with business models, which is really something that is just approaching many sectors. Our sector, definitely, I would say it's slow in that, but really the availability of big data allows really the creation of new business models that we don't even know how they will work, and we have to explore. So this is really a great time, and you seem to be very well positioned to lead this change. Now, what's you mentioned thousands of vessels, and you mentioned also pilots, trials. So where do you stand at the moment? Are you in trial phase? Are you trialing with a number of vessels? Because I understand that your product is already sort of qualified to be used on board for safety purposes. How are you doing with pilots and clients? Do you have already paying clients? What stage are you at?
We are moving into the commercial stage. We have now the first approved wireless IoT platform in the world for maritime industry, which means that we can be installed on any type of vessels, on any part of the vessel as well. So it is also plug and play, and the business model for the safety is only how many nodes do you have and how many wearables. So the business model is very transparent and very simple. Yep. So it will scale. So at the moment, the status is that we opened for sale for a couple of weeks ago. So already we have received at least say up to 20 vessels at just the last weeks.
Yep.
And we are installing now. Yesterday we installed the one vessel. Last week we installed 2. So, but what we do now is to install it ourselves together with the client in order to understand the perfect user journey or customer.
Yep.
Because that is also the logistics and everything from production to logistics to installation to testing and use and support. But we want to learn. We are in the learning phase, and we have said this year maximum, I would say 50 vessels for 2020. We could probably sell many times that, but we want to really understand how, when we're really going into the scaling phase, which is probably in the end of next year.
Yep.
So we are preparing for a scaling of 200 to 300 vessels a month when it comes to production and logistics in order to, we know that wireless connectivity will be installed on any vessel. Just think about land, okay? What happened? What is the biggest companies in the world? They're driven by connectivity, internet, mobility, smart cities, inside. It's the same. We have the same technology, but it doesn't have the same throughput at the moment. We can't send that amount of data, but we are working on it. We believe that we will double that every year or something. So we will know that we will, but okay, we are 10 years behind when it comes to capacity and the bandwidth and stuff, but
sure,
because it's complicated. But just think of how the land industry changed. What is the biggest companies in the world in the stock markets? It's not oil companies. It's not the asset driven.
Sure.
It's the data driven. And we haven't seen that yet in the maritime industry.
No.
I think this technology that we now are flooding or sort of scaling into the maritime industry will create huge potential for new scale startups, huge potential for companies that's not started yet, which really understand the power of working with data. Because now we can access data sources and access that never been possible before at the thousands of fraction of the cost.
Sure.
And we can install it in a couple of hours. So all the components of scaling and disruption is there. And it's not the talk anymore. It's approved. It works. We have very happy clients, and we have clients now ordering for the whole fleet. We see that, which is coming back, and then we can start generate value on the fleet level, and we see that they win contracts because they take safety seriously. I think it's going to be very difficult for the ship owners to say, no to maximum safety level, no when there is a technology available, affordable, and it's just a culture thing. It's not economical thing because the cost is so low. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how if you then get an accident and you knew about the technology,
and you didn't take it,
and then you can be approached, but you knew about this technology has been discussed and debate now all over the maritime world for the last year, and you continue to say no to have safety for your crew. I think that's not going to happen. I think the crew itself will demand to know where they are. It's not we're not surveying those. It's a system that works when it's training and when it's emergency. We're not tracking people in a normal situation. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not Big Brother watching you at all.
No. But actually, we have Big Brother in a sense with internet already, because you can be tracked anywhere, but you're not, or maybe you are, but to a certain extent that you're happy with, and the same thing will happen on board. So yeah, definitely, it's not Big Brother.
And it's not only the safety side, Leonardo. It's about the whole performance and learning about operations. And we know that safe ship which have higher safety also will operate more efficient, because you get more efficient training, you get more efficient operation, wheelers manning, rest times, access control, gangway control, all those things that's very manual today is so easily solved by this technology. It's just a functionality. So there's, and just the cost of injuries, cost of death. There's a lot of, every ship owner they will say, yeah, we had an accident 3 years ago and we had to turn the vessel back to shore again, and we lost 1 week of the voyage. And
on top of one life.
Just the cost of accidents is tremendous. And I think when this technology now is approved, and we are now working with a global logistic, both production and installation regime, which means that you can get it on your next port of probably, you can install it when the ship is in operation. You can install it by yourself. You don't need any technical service personnel there. And I think the crew and the personnel on board should demand that kind of safety. Just search and rescue. Just, that, Leonardo, if you're going to do search and rescue on a big vessel, that could, for some vessels, take hours, 1 or 2 hours. Find the person. And here you're talking about minutes.
It's like a big city. This is really, really great. And it's great. You have traction already from potential clients that ask to install your solution. You are taking it slowly because you want to test things, which is great, but you are on a strong growth trajectory. So my last question is about financing. Are you fundraising at the moment? Are you planning to fundraise to finance this growth? What are the plans? Anything that you can tell, considering this is a public interview, of course.
I think we, during the Corona situation here in Norway, there's been a big focus from the Norwegian government that support digitization and innovation in the Norwegian industry. So what happened now is that it's not official, but we can probably talk during this interview. It depends on when you launch the interview, but later this week there will be a press release from us that we have received a lot of sort of like grants in order to develop more solutions for not only POB, but so our financing is, you can look at that in three. We are starting now to get income, which is really important. Get revenue. Number two, we have received one of the largest packages from Innovation Norway ever for 5 projects, which helps us a lot. And including those sort of grants, there is also clients. involved pilot clients, big shipyards, which
Good.
have said yes. And the third one is, okay, how much more money do we need? We have a strong investment situation today with very strong investors. So there is no way we will run out of money. But as entrepreneurs and shareholders, we want to, of course, we don't want to have like a large emission or whatever you say, asking for more money than we need, of course. Yeah. But we need to scale. And I think like we want this to scale because the maritime industry wants it. And then we should be ready with the production and logistics and all that. So we actually training as like launching a moon rocket. We're actually training every week saying how far are we from producing and installing 300 vessels a month. Mm-hmm. So what kind of system is lacking automation? That's why we're training so much on board vessels, understanding the user journey on board, but also for the land organizations. But at the same time, it's really important to understand that we are not only scaling through direct sales, we are scaling through signing contracts with other solutions or companies that needs the data, especially the safety and PUB data, like emergency response system. We are now testing that with some of the world leading emergency response system that you can even get direct control of the whole emergency situation on the mobile, with all stakeholders, and even get what we call first line emergency response, what's happening on board the vessel, where are the persons. You can get it here, which is just a ridiculous disruption of yesterday. And we're talking about if you go to a shipyard and say, how do you manage emergency response, and have this big emergency room and have all this and there's 3 different systems, and they even have probably the general arrangement on paper and all that. And suddenly we can do the integration here within probably less than a day. We integrate with that such a company as such, and it brings an end-to-end solution, including bandwidth actually with the satellite providers. So we secure a line with something happening and increase the bandwidth. So there's innovation going in incredible speed in different levels, and we are part of that now. And so I think I think we can scale more or less as much as we want when we are ready, but we are not ready. You need to train a lot, and the only way we would scale is happy clients. We won't scale if we get clients so we need to find all the failures, all the things that lags, everything that's so it's an incredible training thing we're doing at the moment.
Yeah. So you're learning now about what the issues are, so that you can iron out and really make sure that you will get to the point where you're ready to just press the button and grow. At that point, you'll be able to raise substantial capital if needed to do it. But you don't need it now, you're telling me, because you have grants and you have also clients that are paying and that are supporting you in this research journey or search journey to find out the perfect operation. Do you understand correctly?
Yeah. And I think it is really important that we have control of our scaling and not we are controlled by the roadmap from big OEMs or big partners.
Absolutely.
I think it's really important that we understand that we will die if we are moving to those kind of processes. So we need to control that. And that's why we probably, when we integrate with other solution providers, whatever, it's probably not the biggest one we integrate, but we integrate with those who have the best technology or the best.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes startups or scale-ups, which brings, I think this technology is beautiful for what the work you have done, gathering all the.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think that's if we look 5-10 years ahead and see, or look back and say, what did actually wireless connectivity do with the maritime industry? I think we would say look at those 5-10 fantastic companies that build, which become superpowers. Like,
yeah.
And it's,
And
I
they
think
changed, they changed the world, really. They changed the world, or we will see that few companies like yours will have changed the way business is done in maritime, the same as like the big names did for internet in the last 10, 20 years.
You can't say no. As a ship owner or whatever, you can't say no. I don't believe in wireless connectivity, or okay, you don't. Just look at what happened on land. You can't say that. I think like everybody agree that wireless connectivity, when approved, when it's affordable, when it's plug and play, have a really important role to play in the optimization and innovation of maritime industry in the years to come.
Yeah.
But who will benefit? Who will be the winners? I think that's we don't know. We could fail, and we don't know.
If you don't try, if you don't play this game, you will never know. Or actually, if you don't, you will know that you failed. But if you do play, you might also win. So definitely, I think the way is forward, and you are very well positioned to really do something great, possibly also to change the way business is done in maritime with big data and so on. So really, congratulations for what you have built so far. Built from an idea of like positive and supportive to people and safety, but then which expanded to cover the entire like spectrum of things that you can do in maritime with data. So congratulations. Thank you for this interview. Very, very eye-opening, very interesting. A lot of further questions that might arise, and I really tell the listeners, do ask questions, do get in touch with Scanreach, and investors, keep an eye on this company, because the company doesn't need you right now, which is the best signal that you as investors might need them at a later stage to be the winning horse, if you want. Or the winning dolphin, since we are in the seas. So thank you very much, Jakob.
Thank you for,
I really hope we will get in touch again, and we will be able to follow you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Cheers.